Hey guys, Zach here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Jurassic Park Series 1 Red Rex. Now, this figure came out in 1993 for the first Jurassic Park film's toyline, and this figure is absolutely amazing. I'm still debating whether I like this figure more or the Demon Carnotaurus more. I still will safely say that this figure is well worth your money. We'll talk more about that later, but for right now, let's just talk about how awesome this figure is. Starting off with the paint. So, at first glance, you're probably thinking to yourself, Zach, the paint is nowhere near accurate to how it looked in the film. Well, there is a reason for that. When they were still making these toys, they had to base everything off of the novel, because the film here wasn't out yet. So, they had to base everything off of the novel, Jurassic Park, which is what the film is based off of by Michael Crichton. Which explains a lot of things, considering that there is a young T-Rex in the novel. We've got a young T-Rex figure here. There was a young T-Rex in the novel, but not in the film. In the Sega Genesis game, one of the levels you go into is a volcano. There was no volcano in the film, but in the novel there was. And various other things that explain why, the novel has a bigger impact on the toys in the movie. So, yeah. Anyway, let's take a closer look at the paint. So, as you can see, this figure is mostly red with black stripes. We have JP09 right here. On the side of the leg right there. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Underneath the figure, we have a nice shade of green. The toe claws are painted black, but for some reason the finger claws aren't painted. I get that these are some small finger claws, but it would have been nice if they tried. But, yeah. Taking a look at the head, we can see that the inside of the mouth is basically this pinkish brownish color, which is what you'd expect from a type of animal. So, yeah. Unless it's from Ed, Edd n Eddy, but yeah. Either way, the teeth are painted a dirty white. The eyes are painted green with a black pupil with an eye shine in the middle right there, which is that white dot. And yeah, that's basically it for the paint for this figure. Again, it's not film accurate, but it's still pretty damn good. So the paint definitely gets a pass. Now take a look at the articulation. And the articulation, it's very limited, but to be honest, it's kind of understanding because this figure is mostly rubber. So yeah. Anyway, the arms can move 360. There is a bendy wire on the tail. And the reason why there is a bendy wire in the tail is because when they were making these figures, they made the boxes way too small. So the first renditions of these figures basically had, a bent tail. They basically had to, figure out a way to fit the figure into the box. So what they did was they just stuffed it in the box like that. And if kids ever got this figure and they opened it up, they'd basically be getting this. Thankfully, later renditions added a bendy wire in the tail, so yeah, that's really cool. But anyway, moving on. If you squeeze the neck right here, the jaw will open up. If we squeeze the side of the body right here, the T-Rex will roar, but it's not quite the famous T-Rex roar we all know and love. Yeah, like I said before, the film wasn't out when they were still making these figures, so they kind of had to do their own thing. So, yeah. It's not a bad roar, it's just a little more generic compared to the famous T-Rex roar from the film, so yeah. And something I don't like is that if you just hold the side of the body, this thing just loops. Yeah, I'm not really too fond of that. And also, another cool thing about this figure, if you bang the feet against a hard surface, yeah, this thing makes stomping sounds, and to be honest, that is really cool. It's not the last time that we'd ever see this feature on a T-Rex figure from the Jurassic Park line, for any of the film's toy lines, but it's definitely the first, and to be honest, not too many T-Rex figures have this, I don't get why, it's such a famous thing for the T-Rex, but for some reason they don't, include the stomping feet. It would have been cool, but only 2 Jurassic Park figures actually have this feature. This figure and the Stomp and Strike T-Rex from Jurassic World. We'll talk about that figure later on. But, yeah, as of now, that's basically it for the articulation. Very limited, but again, it's understandable because this thing is mostly rubber. So, yeah, so the articulation, I guess, gets a pass and a half. Now we'll take a look at the sculpt, and there are some minor things I don't like about the sculpt, but other than that, it's pretty much perfect. First of all, the arms, they look a little more spread out. It looks more like sort of like a G1 Grimlock pose instead of a normal T-Rex. And in case you don't know what I mean, bringing in the young T-Rex, we can see that the arms look more correct. However, here, it just looks, yeah. I can't really get a good shot of it because I don't have enough room, but yeah, this figure's pretty big, so yeah. And another thing I don't really like is how thin the neck is. We have an animal with a pretty big body, but for some reason the neck right here is just really skinny. And I don't understand why. It would have been nice if it was just a little bit more thicker at the base right here, but, you know, whatever. But other than that, the rest of the sculpt on this figure is flat out perfect, so, yeah. Anyway, that's it for the sculpt. I'm not going to get too much into it because most of the sculpt that I have to talk about has something to do with the detailing, so, yeah. The sculpt, it gets a pass. There are some things I don't like, but all around, it's pretty damn perfect, so, yeah. Anyway, last of all, let's take a look at the detailing, and the detailing is where this figure really shines. So, taking a look at the head, we can see all of the scales in the head right here, and all of the cracks and whatnot. The inside of the mouth is detailed quite nicely as well, and so is the roof. Something to be careful of is that inside the mouth right here, the rubber is really weak and it could rip easily, so do be mindful of that. We have more scales and bumps in the neck right here, and more wrinkles, which look really nice. Moving down to the arm, it is nicely muscular and very nice looking. The rib cage right here, they did an amazing job right here for the rib cage. I just think that is amazing for some reason. Like, not like, you know, oh, it's amazing, but I just think that's really nice looking. I don't know why. It just looks amazing, you know? Which is the word to describe this figure, but that's enough of that. Anyway, looking at the side of the leg right here, we can see more wrinkles with small little scales. More reptilian detailing going on the feet right here. Very bird-like. You know how it is with dinosaurs being birds now. Times have changed for dinosaurs. I don't mind the whole bird dinosaur thing, but I know there are people who don't really like that, but yeah. Anyway, moving on to the tail right here, we can see more folds and scales, which look really nice. Yep. Moving all the way down to the tail, which looks really nice. On top right here, we can see more folds and scales and whatnot, which look really nice and well defined. Especially right here at the hips. I really do like that. And same with the tail. Underneath the figure, we can see more scales and wrinkles within the bottom of the jaw right here, and the wrinkles in the neck. Underneath here, we can see more reptilian detailing, which looks amazing. Very crocodilian-like, and I really do like that. We have more wrinkles right here by the ass, and more reptilian detailing for the tail, going all the way down. And that is it for the detailing on this figure. It gets a pass. Hands down, it gets a pass. The detailing on this figure is amazing, which is basically this figure in general. This figure is amazing. If you want this figure, definitely get it, you know? If you're a fan of Jurassic Park, please get this figure. If you're a fan of dinosaurs in general, get this figure. Even if you're a fan of Jurassic Park or dinosaurs but you don't collect any of the figures, please get this, because this thing is well worth your money. Granted, I went a little overboard. I paid $120 for this, but you can normally get this figure for around $70, $50, $40, $60. A much lower price than what I paid, so yeah. Anyway, if you want to know how big this figure is, here he is next to Dr. Billy Grant. They look nice together, but it would look even nicer with an original Jurassic Park human figure. So, yeah. They look much better together than Billy Grant here, but then again, Billy Grant is from Jurassic Park 3, and we all know how that toy line went out. But anyway, that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zach out.